New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has launched an investigation into the NYPD following the release of records from the Oath Keepers, indicating that there were former and current members of the NYPD who were members of the right-wing, extreme right-wing militia group. So an WNYC/Gothamist investigation of online records appears to tie several New York law enforcement officers and public officials, including at least 2 active members of the NYPD, to a far-right anti-government militia. So this anonymous hacker apparently obtained the records and sent it over to reporters who have now reported on it, looked at it, and attempted to corroborate some of the data in these records. So far, 18 members, by the way, of the Oath Keepers have been charged with conspiracy due to their participation in the Capitol riots that took place on January 6th. Also, just to give you a little more background on the Oath Keepers, they also spread all sorts of fake conspiracy theories about voter fraud during both the 2016 and 2020 elections. So that's where they're at. And obviously it's a little problematic if you have current government officials or current members of law enforcement actively participating in this group. Now, 3 New York public officials, by the way, listed in the leaked membership logs confirmed to WNYC and Gothamist that they had previously signed up for membership with the organization, but claimed they were no longer active. That's what they've claimed.
Yeah.
So, like, at what point do you decide that signing up for an extreme right-wing gang is a good idea? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because these are people who do not believe in the government. They think that they're above the law. And so if you're working for the government, especially if you're working for law enforcement, if you don't think the law matters or you're anti-government, maybe not the right job for you. Maybe not the right job for you. I don't know. Yes. Maybe I'm being crazy here.
So there's a couple of problems here. One is the extreme nature of the group. So it was formed after Obama was elected, and it's about keeping the oath to the Constitution for enemies that are foreign and domestic. So basically, it looks like black people are taking over, and we can't have it. So let's start a vigilante group that's going to ignore the law and is extreme and right wing because we don't like the black guy in charge. And so now, if you're black in New York and you have these thugs going around that joined up with this group, and they've got guns and badges, and if you even disagree with them on something awful that they're doing or even something illegal that they're doing to you, they'll bash your head in even more or worse. So we're gonna let these guys have the power of the state behind them, especially the way the police operate in America, where they're above the law and they can cause you great physical bodily damage or death and get away with it. And you got these guys with in this monstrous group walking around. I mean, look, I say black folks, but really any minority. You think they're gonna be great to LGBTQ group? I don't think so, right? You think they're gonna be open-minded to Muslims like me? Like, oh, well, okay, I'm part of the Oath Keepers, but that Muslim American is just as American as anyone else. No, that's not how it's gonna go for us. And if you're white and you say, I don't care that they bash your skulls in, well, then you're a terrible person. Okay, so now the second part of it is, I mean, the deep irony that Anna pointed out. Your job is to enforce the law. This group says we don't care about the law. And by the way, do they want the law enforced on black people? Of course they do, right? What they're saying is white people should be above the law.
Look, for me, in terms of this whole congressional group that's supposed to be investigating what transpired on January 6th, like, my fear has always been that the ramifications, the repercussions of what happened that day will be extended to innocent people like us that didn't do anything wrong, right? Or that access to the Capitol will be limited or restricted as a result of what bad people did, right? Basically what we saw in the aftermath of 9/11. What I think the commission should focus on, and really the only thing the commission should be focused on, is what's happening within law enforcement, right? Like, focus on that. Why did Capitol Police decide to be incredibly ill-prepared that day? how many members of the law enforcement agencies involved happen to be in bed with these right-wing militias. That's the important stuff. You need to root out the white supremacists, the neo-Nazis, the militia members that happen to be part of law enforcement. Especially local law enforcement. You look at the sheriff's department in Los Angeles and it has a long history of literal gang members within its ranks.
Yeah, so this whole idea of Oath Keepers saying we don't want to follow the law is, when you're in law enforcement, is absurd. But it's not just that. It's like a dentist saying, there's the two problems. I'm a dentist, but I don't want to do dentistry. Okay, well then that's not really how it works, right? But it's actually worse than that, because they're saying if you're someone we agree with, white, but also must be a right winger, right? Well, then we're gonna fix your teeth up and you're gonna be in great shape. Now, if you're a minority, good luck, sit in the dentist chair and see how it turns out for you.
Yeah, we're gonna take a lead pipe to your mouth. That's exactly, yeah.
Would you let these extremist groups drill into your mouth with no safeguards at all? You would never do it if it was your dentist and you knew ahead of time. But cops have guns, it's more dangerous. And they have tasers and they have all that violence that they could put on you. And so them going, oh wow, so I used to be an extremist, what's the big deal? I don't really believe in following the law when it comes to right wingers and white people, but no, that's a giant deal. And if they, so if they have it on here, they should do a thorough investigation. And people were really part of that group and believe those same ideas, they should be fired, of course.
So I want to give you a few specific examples. I mentioned 2 public officials in New York, but what about the NYPD? Well, the hack includes detailed information on Ed Kiruz, chief of staff for the New York Guard, a state volunteer force and civilian employee of the New York State Division of Military and Naval Affairs, which oversees the state's approximately 20,000 National Guard and naval militia members. In the logs, meaning the hacked data, the entry associated with him refers to his ability to, quote, recruit from New York Army and Air Guard, New York State Guard, and USCG Coast Guard Auxiliary. That sounds pretty terrifying that he's included in their logs, right? That he's a member. Now, he confirmed, by the way, to reporters that he did in fact sign up and joined the Oath Keepers years ago, though. It was years ago, but also claims that he's never been actively involved with this far-right extremist gang. But you signed up for it. You were part of it years ago, you claim. Why would you, the paperwork is the annoying part. Why would someone go through the paperwork to be part of this group and then not actively be part of the group? I'm not buying it, which is why I'm happy that there's actually an investigation into this that's been launched by Bill de Blasio. One NYPD sergeant who is listed online as being active in the department's firearms and tactics session was named in the data dump. The sergeant answered a phone number posted in the membership data and acknowledged he was a current NYPD officer when asked whether he was the person in question. He declined, though, to comment on whether or not he is a member of the militia organization. And the list goes on and on. There are other specific examples in this data dump, right? Which is, I have to admit, a weird and uncomfortable phrase to say, but it is what it is. So again, I'm happy that there's an investigation into this, but if Congress and this particular group of Congress people were serious about getting to the bottom of what transpired on January 6th, they would be aggressively looking into this particular issue rather than politicizing it. I don't know what they've been up to, right? And you have the right wing that's politicizing it. You have Democrats who I'm sure are also trying to use it for political reasons as well. But I do think this is a serious problem, not just in New York, not just in Washington, DC, but honestly throughout the country. They're within police departments across the country, and that's an issue.
One of them said that he was paying, he just paid dues for a little while to the Oath Keepers. It's like, these excuses are liars. I mean, I filled out the form to join the Klan and I paid dues to the Klan for a while, but I'm not a racist or anything. That was a couple of years ago. Okay.
Yeah, I just did all of the hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
I did the paperwork and I paid the dues, but I didn't participate in any other way.
Oh no, I'm sure you didn't.
Come on.
And finally, cops are supposed to protect us from radical militias. They're not supposed to join them.
Right.
Just very simple. So it's not a matter of cancel culture. It's a matter of they're not doing their job that we're paying them for. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.